Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Coaster Spotlight. Today we have an amazing assortment of coaster creations to look at, so stay tuned and let's check them out. All right, welcome back everybody, and Happy New Year. This is my first Planet Coaster recording of 2020. Holy good googly moogly, ladies and gentlemen. 3 years of Planet Coaster so far. It's amazing that we've come this far and done this many spotlights and seen this many creations, and I'm sure 2020 has a lot more in store for us, starting with these creations here today. So let's dive right on into the first one, shall we? V5 testing facility created by AKA Superman, one of our Discord builders and Diamond patrons. Thank you so much for your support, AKA Superman. And here they say, shout out to Zayfor, Kitsch, and Jaderdox for their contributions. Look for their Easter eggs in this creation. Zayfor docking bay, Kitsch control tower, and Jaderdox in the engine testing. Thanks to the several Steam creators for their spaceships on the workshop. You'll find their names at the boarding station. I appreciate all the feedback you can afford. I tend to use a lot of nature to tie my creations together. For this one, I challenged myself to use 0 nature pieces and still make it interesting and cohesive. With a great coaster layout, hopefully it paid off. Because of this, I never wanted to touch another X Dimension coaster again. Nighttime is where it's at. Oh, nighttime is where it's at. I actually did all the cinematics in daytime, as you can see. So I guess we're gonna switch things up and check it out at night. So let's get on into it. So here it is. Nighttime is where it's at. I was excited to see an X Dimension coaster because it's been a while since we've done one, and what a great way to start off 2020 with an X Dimension coaster, my goodness. But now he says he's never gonna do one again, which makes me sad. So it is an X Dimension coaster, and in Planet Coaster it's the test pilot track. And here's a look at all the stats, everybody, and we'll take a closer look at the blueprint details after we give this a ride. So let's get right on into it. Oh, you know what I think we have to do? I think we have to give this a day ride as well. But what we should do is we'll hop over to the other seat, but then we'll switch the train to the is it the car? Switch it to the very front, or is this the back? The back car. That way we get a completely different experience this time around. All right. So this is a very interesting one to talk about here today because it is an X Dimension coaster, and I feel like there are so many ways to make these coasters, and there's no really right or wrong way of doing it. It's all going to come down to personal preference. And for example, you could do a lot of cinematic stuff. Like I tend to talk about Mountain Rescue a lot in the last month, but that was an X Dimension coaster, and the way that JR Tinman controlled the seats was so that you would always be looking outward towards something in the distance, and that really works in that case because you're focusing your attention on something other than the track, other than the coaster. And I noticed with this one, we are looking outward a lot, and we're kind of going upside down. And what ends up happening is we just see a lot of the sky, and we don't really pay attention to the coaster. And if you look at the coaster layout itself, it's very nice. And I almost feel like this coaster would feel better to ride it in track view, or just, yeah, because you could follow the track a little bit better. So in terms of the X Dimension, what I would like to see from this one is controlling that rotation a little bit better. We saw it in certain spots as we're coming down. You actually did a backwards roll down into the drop, which is cool, and you tried to kind of like face it towards some of the targets and things going on. But as we get out to the outside, somewhere like here, what I would probably do is rotate the seat again so that we're actually dropping down this way, if that makes sense. And make it so that the X Dimension is following your coaster, but then rotating it at times to make it interesting. Here you could rotate it again so that we're coming back down this way and we see the cannon shoot off, which you did manage to get that shot there. But again, as we're coming back up here, you want to rotate it this way. So we're looking back down at the track. See, they're kind of looking forward at the sky, and it doesn't really give you the same effect. So I would kind of switch your rotations back and forth depending on the orientation of where we are in the coaster. So as we're near the end, we should be looking towards the beginning. And as we're at the beginning, we should be looking towards the end. And we switch in between those interactions. Now, I don't envy you for doing the X Dimension. It's very hard to control the rotations, but as a personal preference, I feel like we're looking at the sky a lot, and I didn't get to appreciate the coaster. With that said, I feel like maybe what we should do is just give it a quick ride in track view, so we can actually just kind of appreciate the actual layout of the coaster. See how ridiculously smooth that coaster experience is? And now obviously at the times where we're riding upside down, that would be your opportunity to flip the X Dimension seats to put us right side up. So that's kind of how I would approach the X Dimension, but I think you had the right idea here. And I think what got lost in translation was the fact that you wanted to face the camera towards certain aspects, certain things, and in between doing that, you're trying to reorientate the camera to look at something, but all the in-between motions end up making it so we're looking at the sky a lot. So just a little bit more control on this one here, but I think in terms of the concept, it's really cool. I love that you did this, like, or you called it a V5 testing facility. So you have this jet here. It looks like an airport of some sort. If we put some asphalt under there instead of grass, it would look really cool. Now, he did say there was some Easter eggs. Someone had an Easter egg in the hangar bay. I'm not sure if what we're looking for. Maybe the couple characters there. Let me see what he said here. Zaphor's in the docking bay. Is this not the docking bay? Or is this one? There's our logo in the front there. I had it backwards. I thought that was the front. I didn't even notice the logo until now. Kitsch is in the control tower. This would be the control tower, right? Ah, Kitsch control tower. So it might just be name shoutouts. I don't see a name on the docking bay for Zaphor. Maybe this is the docking bay. There it is. Zaphor's docking bay. And then there's Jader docks in the test engine. Is this where you test the engine? I would imagine, right? Looks like a freaking rocket. Unfortunately, I am unable to find Jader docks as shoutout. That one's hidden quite well, but he's in there somewhere. So shout out to Jader docks. So amazing first creation of 2020. Thank you so much for your submission, aka Superman. And let's check out the next creation of the day. Angkor, created by Sublimes, one of our Discord master builders and diamond patrons. Thank you so much for your support, Sublimes. And here they say, hidden in the Cambodian jungle lies a massive temple complex untouched for hundreds of years and completely overgrown. Explore the remnants of a once great civilization and rediscover the spires that once formed Angkor Wat. Very cool. All right, let's dive right on into this one, ladies and gentlemen. Really cool creation here. Here's a look at the coaster. We are dealing with a floorless coaster here today. And here's all the stats green across the board. It's a tight packed, compact blueprint. Let's dive right on into this, throw it back into test mode and give it a go. We're gonna go seat view for this guy. And in the middle seat. Short but sweet, very smooth, and very compact. I was actually really surprised at how small this blueprint is. It might be because I have it next to this guy. But it did feel quite small and compact. I mean, as you can see, this is the boarding station here, and that is actually a smaller boarding station. It fits one train. So in terms of the length, it's not a whole lot longer than the actual station there. So it is a very, very compact, and the aesthetics here are very interesting. We got these really cool temple pieces, the temple on top of the boarding station. I love the way the boarding station looks, by the way. The sign looks amazing, held in by all these overgrown vines, which is also used as a support. I mean, that is beautiful. A really great creation for like an adventure jungle part of your theme parks. Definitely put this into any adventure jungle and it would fit very, very well. I love the composition. We have this block section with all this grown ivy right over top of the temple. I mean, it just fits so perfectly. The way the coaster loops in and around, comes under the sign, right into the station here. I mean, that is a masterful quality composition right there. From the ground eye view, it makes you really want to go check out this coaster closer. Every angle looks really good. Really showcasing your master abilities here today, Sublimes. A really stunning creation. Let's take a quick look at it at nighttime, because I'm not sure if there's any nighttime lighting here. Just a subtle amount, some torches on the inside around the sign makes it pop. I love it. Simple but elegant. Very nice. I love the warm glow on the temple right there. Really nice stuff. I got no feedback for you here today, Sublimes. I think you did an outstanding job on this one. What did you guys think of these two creations? Leave your comments down below for the creators. Links are also in the description below if you want to download them and place them into your parks. And with that said, let's check out our last creation of the day. Not created by Deanna L 2010, one of our Discord builders and golden patrons. And here they say, hey yo, this is Deanna with a new creation that I've been working on since coming back from the hospital in October. Oh no. Well, I am glad to hear that you're back and healthy once again, Deanna. And she continues to say, it is a unique artistic type piece, which uses the terrain sculpture I made to create a unique experience with shadows and light. FYI, this is a very long coaster at 4 minutes with all green stats, and I hope you enjoy it. And as always, any feedback would be appreciated. Thanks, Deanna. Boom. This one looks absolutely ridiculous, as you guys can see from the cinematics. There's a lot going on with the terrain. So let's delay no further and check out this coaster closer, shall we? All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is Knot, and it is quite the Tangled Knot. We have another werewolf floorless coaster. Look at all these stats. Green across the board, as she mentioned, with max speeds of 95 miles per hour, track length 5,112 meters, and the biggest drop 85 meters. Good googly moogly. Let's get right on this. Oh, Quite a long and crazy experience indeed, Deanna. Look at this terrain. That is absolutely insane. So, I mean, I do have a little bit of feedback for you, but it's very subjective. So, first of all, let's talk about the coaster itself. So, yeah, the floorless werewolf coaster is a type of corkscrew coaster. And it is strange to see that much corkscrew track, where I probably would have said, if you're going to go with a 5,000 meter exploration coaster, try to choose something a little bit more fast and furious, like a giga coaster or a hyper coaster. I know that the corkscrew does give you the opportunity to do some inversions, but I think I only counted about 2 or 3 inversions total. And honestly, they go so high and they're so big that could just be a very tall, high banking turn. And if you really want, so you could take a hyper or a giga and use the no limits coaster track layout and actually create an inversion with it if you want. That way you just have a better support structure, because the corkscrew coaster supports aren't really intended to go up that high. Because like this is the height of a freaking giga coaster, and it does seem a little bit strange having this corkscrew track. That's just a personal preference for mine, a little gripe, I would say. And again, with these 5,000 meter coasters, it's really hard to give a lot of feedback on the different areas of the coaster. I know there were some spots where we're gliding down low, and it was kind of switching from side to side very rapidly. See that? I guess that was kind of perfect timing. I would just smooth out those transitions a little bit more, and I would say that in certain points throughout this experience where it's just a little bit tight in between the turns. So yeah, some smoothing in between those areas. But again, it's such a long track, it's really hard to pinpoint all the different areas. Now, my feedback to you, Deanna, this is just going to be like a personal request type thing, because I for the viewers, I don't know if they remember, but we did feature your creation not too long ago, last month, the Avalanche, and then there was a while back, the Rattlesnake, the Wendigo Explorer, and I know there's another one, the Contort. So I think that's 5 total, right? So between your 5 creations, they're all very similar in terms of they're not really, there's not a lot of theming going on. I'd say Contort was your most themed one because it was a 4K blueprint with 2 massive buildings, so you tried to do some theming there. What you end up doing is creating these gigantic coasters with just a whole whack load of terraforming, where there's nothing wrong with that, but at this point that's all we've seen from you, and it's really hard to see you grow as a builder, a coaster creator, when you're doing these gigantic coasters and the theming is very subjective and abstract, right? Like, how do you how do you even like judge, rate, or promote based off of these wild and zany creations? Now, these wild and zany creations are a ton of fun, and I think they're good to switch things up once in a while, take a look at something different from the norm. But for yourself, in terms to grow as a creator in the community, I would like to see something completely different, take you out of your comfort zone. And I see what your style is. I'm gonna just have fun building coaster tracks, making terrain, and just really get into it. And it's a lot of broad strokes. If this was a painting lesson or a painted creation, you're doing tons and tons of broad strokes, or you're using a roller on the walls of a house. You're really filling in that paint with big giant strokes. What I want to see from you in the next creation or future creations, I want to challenge you to do some more micro brush details and colors. So a 4K blueprint, a small coaster design, so we can really get the sense of your coaster layout, you know, something that's between just maybe a max of 1,000 meters of track, even less than that, and pick a theme, fantasy, sci-fi, you know, whatever, and try to really push those details, make a nice boarding station, and just make it really elaborate, and see what kind of artistic polish you can get with those tiny brush strokes. And then we can take a look at that and see, you know, areas to critique you on and areas to improve on, because these ones, it's just, I really can't say whether this is good or bad, because this is just this is fantasy, this is science fiction here. You would never ever see anything like this in real life, and I'd have to say that with all 5 of your creations that I've seen so far. So maybe something a little bit more realistic, but obviously a little bit flamboyant and fun as well. If you do a 4K blueprint, it does not have to be like, oh, this is something you would see in real life. You could still get crazy with it, as we saw from the other 2 creations here today, today. I mean, while they could be created in theme parks, you'd likely not see that kind of level of complexity and detail. And that's what makes Planet Coaster fun, is that these creations are far more elaborate than the coasters you would see in real life in terms of theming and coaster design. So that would be my feedback for you here today. Deanna, what did you guys think of these creations? Leave your comments down below. Also, once again, the links are in the description if you want to take a closer look at them. And as you guys could probably tell, I probably sound a little bit sick. My nose is still a little bit plugged. The last week was absolutely hell on wheels for me. Had a really bad flu, hit me probably 2 days before New Year's. And now what day is it today? It is January 5th. So it's been about 7 days now of just nonstop sickness. And the other day was so bad. I've never had a sickness like this. It mutated. Every time I breathe through my nose, I would sneeze. Every time. So I just breathe in, sneeze, breathe in, sneeze, breathe in, sneeze, breathe in, sneeze. My eyes were watering so bad. It was the worst experience ever. I would have probably rather had a fever than that crazy sneezing fit that I had to go through. So now I'm a little congested. My head's still messed up. Nose is still a little clogged, but I want to try to get back to doing some Planet Coaster videos for the new year. Get some of this stuff rolling out to you guys today. So you might still hear me a little bit sick in the future recordings here, because I'm gonna try to get a bunch done today. So there you go, guys. Bear with me in the new year here, but I'm gonna try to get some Planet Coaster creations out. And this is our first 3 of 2020. So thank you once again to the patrons for your support. If you guys want to become a patron, links are down in the description below for my Patreon page, and you will get spotlight priority at the beginning of the month every month. And any support is much appreciated. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me today in this episode. Please be sure to smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe for more daily Planet Coaster videos. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope 2020 is looking great for all of you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye now.